Hi, I'm Mel Jacob and one of the organisers of the Apple Festival. It's a glorious September day and today we're off to go and collect some apples that somebody is donating to the Apple Festival. Normally all the apples come from donations from people who've got trees and they've got too many apples and they don't need them, and we use those to press at the Apple Festival. Today, sadly, we're just collecting a few apples so that we can do a video for you to tell you all about apple pressing, because this year's festival is virtual due to the COVID pandemic. Okay, so we've just got back from picking some apples and I just wanted to show you what they're like. I absolutely love picking the apples and seeing everybody's different apple trees and gardens. And these come from a garden in Hilperton in Trowbridge. We've got a mixture of some that we've picked straight off the tree. These are from an apple tree, these are their cooking apples. You can see they've got a little bit of scab on them, but they're still perfectly good to eat. So we've got the ones straight off the tree, but we've also picked lots and lots of what we'd call a windfall. So this means they've fallen off the tree all of their own accord. Maybe they're ready a bit earlier or they've got knocked off by wind. Some of them have got a few bruises or cuts on them, but actually they're perfectly good and especially good for juicing. So you'll see later on how we use these for juicing. But if you've got an apple tree in your own garden and a few fall on the floor, just cut off the bruise and the rest of the apple's perfectly good. Okay, so we're back from our apple picking and we've got lots of gorgeous apples here, and I've got a very lovely family from Trowbridge who've come round to help me show you how to press apples. They have actually been probably to all of the apple festivals, so they're experts, and we're going to show you how to turn these apples into some very delicious juice. Okay, so the first stage is that we have to wash the apples, and at the apple festival we normally do this in buckets of water. So we're just taking them straight into the bucket and giving them a bit of a swish, and then we're going to put them up onto the chopping board ready to cut them up. Okay, so I think Isaac's going to demonstrate how to cut an apple up in this very safe way.
I can cut some apples.
And we call this the bridge technique, and if you use the bridge technique you're unable to cut your fingers. So it's very beautifully demonstrated by Isaac here, and all we're doing is cutting the apples into quarters, and we don't need to peel them, we don't need to core them, we're just going to cut them up into quarters, and then they're going to go through the next stage. So we've got quite a few apples to do, so we're going to leave Isaac there busy chopping and we'll be back with you very shortly. Okay, so while everybody's chopping apples, the reason that we don't have to core them and peel them is that we put a net into the apple press, and this captures all the pips and the bits that we don't want and just lets the juice come through. So sometimes a bit wriggly, and that goes in there, and you'll see what the next stage is in a minute. Brilliantly done.
Let's get it started.
So the next stage, after we've quartered the apples, is to use the scratter, and you can see here that it involves turning a wheel which allows the apple to be cut up into much smaller pieces. So the apples go into the chute at the top and they come out in much smaller pieces right down at the bottom there. It's quite hard work, so we'll just let it turn for a bit. So we've got all of these apples and more to do before we can actually get onto the pressing. So you can see that the apples are going down through the blades and into the collecting net. And we've got quite a lot of apple there. We're almost ready to start pressing and making some juice. So, Stephen, can you tell me what it is you enjoy about apple pressing at the Apple Festival?
Well, it's nice to get something from the apples, and we've seen all that we've done. We've seen all the processes, and I like the smell actually of the juice as we're scritting, and it's really nice. It's nice to have fresh apple juice that you've just pressed yourself. It's really tasty.
And do you think it's been nice as an experience as a family? Because I know all of your family normally come and take part.
I think we all enjoy it, yes. And it's all, you know, it is nice to do something as a family. It's obviously a bit different this year. Yeah, when we've done the Apple Festival in previous years, we've all got involved and done different things.
So now we've finished scratching all the apple, you can see that our net is really full of this beautiful apple pulp, which is really exciting, and we're beginning to get to the point where we can do the juice. So we fold the net over, give it a bit of a shake, to keep all the apple pulp inside, because all we want is the juice. And onto the top we put this wooden block that just sits in there. And then the next stage is to close the apple press and start pressing. So this giant screw is going to exert lots and lots of pressure onto the apple pulp. Just need to get it into the right position. And that goes on there. This bolt goes through to hold it in position, and we're ready for the next step. So the next step in our pressing is to start tightening the screw, and Isaac and Malachi are doing this. It starts off nice and easy, and as they start to tighten it, it will get a lot harder. Now we can see that the juice is beginning to come out just there and beginning to seep into that collecting tray, and in a few minutes it's going to start going into the jug. So we'll just let them keep winding that screw and we'll join them in a few minutes. Okay, so a little bit of time has gone on, not that much time, and you can see that we've already got juice pouring into the jug there. I think it's getting a little bit tighter, but there's plenty of time to go. There's quite a lot of pulp to press, and we're going to watch this jug fill up. And as the jug fills up, we get more and more excited because it's almost time to taste this delicious juice.
Now that the juice is ready, it's time to have a taste. Very nice.
Is it better than normal apple juice, have a go?
Yeah, it tastes fresher.
Okay, let's see what everybody else thinks. What do you think, you two? Better than 2019?
I don't know.
Can't remember.
It's very nice though.
Oh, great. How are you enjoying your apple juice?
Delicious. Better than shop bought apple juice. I know it doesn't look quite as appetizing maybe as shop bought apple juice, but that's because the brown comes from the apples oxidizing in the air. I expect when you've cut an apple you've seen it go brown, but the shop juice they put something in it. I think it's citric acid, just to stop it going brown like this, but it still tastes delicious. And you'll see I'm drinking it out of a glass. It is apple juice, not wine, but because we actually are trying as an Apple Festival to avoid single-use plastics, and so we try with all the things we do to use reusable materials and natural materials, just to reduce our impact on the environment.
So, okay, so Isaac's now ready to take this apart. You can see he's just doing a reverse of what we did at the beginning. Going to take that out, take the block out. Hang on, it's going to be back in a minute. We'll see what's happened in here. And you can see that it's been pressed down really tightly. Can you open the net for us, Isaac, so we can just see what's happened in there? And it's a sort of cake of pressed apple juice, pressed apple rather, and all the juice has been squeezed out of the little bits of apple. That normally goes off to feed my chickens or go on a compost heap.
At the Apple Festival, people can bring their own apples and a bottle so they can take away their own juice.
So once the apple is all cut into quarters, we put it into the scratter, and the scratter cuts it into much smaller pieces. You can see Isaac has to turn the wheel here, and that starts to turn the apple into the smaller pieces that will be pressed. So there it is going through, and it comes out down here in much smaller pieces. It's going to take a little while, so we'll rejoin a little bit later.